Information Minister Mohammed Idris says Nigeria's tax system long overdue for reforms. PDP National Working Committee dismisses Ikengo Ugochinyeri's expulsion by Ward Exco. Federal government warns of new COVID-19 variants, urges hospitals to be vigilant. And foreign thing, Ghana counts votes amid hopes for better times. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Let's get into the news now. Following the various arguments for and against the proposed tax reform bills before the National Assembly, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has said that the nation's tax administration system is long overdue for reform on account of general attitudes of taxpayers on taxation, amongst other reasons. The minister stated this at a meeting with members of the Nigerian Institute of NIPR in Kaduna to foster dialogue for national economic renaissance. The report.
It has been a controversial issue that is still dominating discourses across the nation. According to the minister, the issue of tax reform is not just sensitive, but important, adding that the attention it is getting is not unexpected. He said, despite the intentional effort toward fundamental reform of Nigeria's governance and fiscal system, the Tinubu administration will never do anything to undermine the ideals of participatory democracy.
All over the world, effective taxation is important as a source of financial power for governments to provide social services for their citizens. However, there is plenty of reason to believe and assert that Nigeria's tax administration system has become long overdue for reform on account of design and implementation flaws, as well as the general attitude of taxpayers towards taxation itself.
Academics, intellectual, and other stakeholders lent their voices to the controversial tax reform, which is generating heated debates, especially from the north.
Kaduna State is a very good example of what you can achieve great in terms of tax. Let me tell you, we have more avenue to get money from tax than people are thinking. But we allow this informal sector by not bringing them into the tax net. How can we generate? Other states.
We are here because we recognize the rights of citizens to have a say, to ask questions, and to join in conversations of what concerns them.
Areas that we have concerns about are areas our own lawmakers representing us should raise issue, not to condemn, to corrupt, or to peddle falsehood and fake ideas about the bill.
Religious leaders warned division among people over the proposed tax reform and called for inclusivity of diverse voices.
But you see, if we start with the tax, are we not putting the cart before the horse? Why? Because already there's a draft bill on the question of regional governance. And if there is regional governance, this tax laws will all change depending on region. So I think the government needs to look into this.
So if we address that, some of this problem we are having today, we can easily address it. But I want to encourage Nigerians that the debate about tax and tax reform should be centered on more about how it affects people than dividing people on other regional line, religious line, or whatever line. I think this is where we are getting so many of these issues wrong.
The minister expressed happiness with the way Nigerians from all walks of life are expressing their views and opinions on the tax matter and voiced optimism that with robust debates and consultations, the reforms will be for the overall good of the nation and not any region or group of people. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
Now, the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the 2023 elections, Adewale Adebayo, has decried the controversy trailing the proposed tax reforms bill before the National Assembly. Adewale said the huge opposition to the bill by Nigerians is because it is not relevant to the present needs of the people. According to him, the bill was introduced in the National Assembly when the people were hungry, adding that what the people need is food and not tax reforms. Speaking in Ilorin, Kwara State, the reporters on Saturday, Adebayo called on the leadership of the country to be accountable to the people. He also supported the review of the Nigerian Constitution, adding that a review of the character of those in power is even more important. One farmer, Isiaku Gambo, has been reportedly killed in a bomb explosion near Bassa in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. Residents said the victim stepped on the explosives suspected to have been planted on the road between Ungwan Usman village and Bassa while conveying his farm produce to Bassa on a motorcycle. One of the sources who preferred anonymity said the body of the victim was split and scarred by the explosion. The Niger State Police Command is yet to issue a statement on the incident. Joining us via phone call to give us an update on the situation in United States is Abubakar Akote, a reporter over there. Abubakar Akote, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us on the News Hour tonight. What can you tell us about the situation?
The report came in this evening that the victim was returning from farm where he had gone to bring his farm produce at Ongwa Usman to Bata when he stepped on the explosive on the road. It's actually from Ongwa Usman, but because of attacks on their community, they have moved to stay in Basa, which they consider a bit safer. But they used to go to Ongwa Usman, their native community, where they planted some crops, which they are harvesting now. The residents believe that the explosive might have been planted maybe this afternoon, because they said while people have passed through the road today, and they did not encounter such an incident until this evening around 3 p.m. when the victim was returning on bike and stepped on the explosive, which went off.
All right, Akote. So, is there any are there any people or group of people rather that we're going to point at as the people who have placed these explosive devices on the road?
The survivor?
No. I mean, who can we hold, or which group of people, which terrorist arm can we say are the ones behind these explosives on the road?
The area has been under attacks several times by terrorist groups, which residents believe to be members of even Boko Haram or ISWAP. The last time they said they have about 3 groups operating in the area, including the Ansarudin group, the ISWAP and Boko Haram group. No group has come out to claim the responsibility of the explosion or planting the device, but the residents believe that any of the group might have been responsible for that.
All right. So in the story we read earlier, they said the police has not yet issued any statement. Has that position changed?
The decision has not changed. Police is yet to make any comments, even though they were contacted with regard to the incident. And the Commissioner for Homeland Security in the state, Brigadier General Bello Abdullahi Mohammed, is also yet to respond to inquiry from that have made. His number was not going through. I've sent him messages, but also at this moment he has not responded to my messages.
All right, thank you so much, Akote, for that update on the situation happening in Niger State. Please do stay safe.
Yes.
Now moving on to other stories. In Taraba, the police command says unknown gunmen have killed a pastor and a woman in Jalingo, the state capital. Spokesperson of the command, SP Usman Abdullahi, said the pastor and the woman were killed in separate attacks on Friday night. He said the woman was shot on the stomach while studying for examination in her room, while the pastor was also shot by the gunman. SP Usman, however, said the gunman did not kidnap any person or cart away money or any valuable in the two compounds they invaded. He did not, however, disclose the name of the victims or if any arrest was made. Still on security, we go to the east where in Enugu State, the police command says it has dismantled an interstate criminal syndicate specializing in armed robbery and fraud. The police made this known in a statement by the State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Daniel Ndukwe, on Saturday. Now, according to Ndukwe, the joint operation involving the MNA Division, Crack and Octopus Tactical Squads, and the Neighborhood Watch Group led to the arrest of a dismissed soldier and 7 other male suspects. According to the statement, the police also recovered 2 locally made pistols, one with a live cartridge and another with an expended cartridge, as well as 300,415 naira in cash. Additional items included 10 laptops, land documents, 10 mobile phones, jewelry, watches, an MP3 player, headphones, 4 power banks, 2 SIM cards, footwear, and bags. President Bola Tinubu on Saturday announced changes to the purpose leadership of the Southeast Development Commission. The updated list announced on December 6, 2024 features new appointments aimed at strengthening the Commission's capacity to drive developments in the Southeast region. Tinubu replaced the initial chairman nominee, Emeka Atuma, with Dr. Emeka Nworogu. Tinubu on Friday had announced Atuma alongside others in a statement where he also announced the leadership for the Northwest Development Commission. However, in this reject nomination, signed by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, and shared on X on Saturday, other adjustments were made to the board nominees. The reshuffled list also includes a new Executive Director of Finance, Stanley Ohajuruka, who replaces Anthony Ubo, among others. The Rivers State Command of the Federal Fire Service has carried out a dry season fire safety sensitization campaign to create awareness, educate and advise the people on how to avert fire outbreak occurrence in the office, market and their homes. The exercise was carried out on the street of Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Here's more in this report.
During the sensitization exercise, the controller of the Federal Fire Service, Rivers State Command, Hawa Hueli, urged residents to embrace safety as everyone's responsibility. Hueli said the sensitization is to create awareness on the role of citizens during fire incidents, and particularly during the Harmattan season. She also said it was time for Nigerians to stop the attacks on firefighters during fire incidents.
Federal Fire Service, 36 states of the Federation, when we are in the Ember month, in the Harmattan season, we usually carry out this sensitization/awareness to sensitize the public on the dangers of the Ember month and how they should take extra precaution in order to avoid fire outbreaks. And if fire eventually happens, what they can do if it eventually happens.
Some fighters also advised Nigerians to update firefighting equipment in their homes and business environments, urging them to equip their environment with safety equipment such as portable fire extinguishers, a working smoke alarm system, and water hydrants. Some residents commended the fire agency for the sensitization.
Whenever you see the fire engine coming towards you, you should know that we are going on an emergency. It's not a cruise. We are not out for cruising. So give way, because it helps to also get to the scene on time so that to avoid this negative response at the scene of call.
You have a fire blanket for your kitchen fire. We also tell you to have a fire extinguisher like CO2 within the house. Then in your generator area, you have a powder. Then it is also encouraged that you install a standalone smoke detector. We call it battery type. It also alerts you in case of fire outbreak or any sort of fire from any particular room within your house. It is expected that the smoke detector will trigger. But for a place like offices, companies, factory and some other things, we recommend a conventional type of smoke detector. It has a panel It has a 2 backup battery. That is what we advise people to have.
If at all is in the house, it's a little bit frightening. In fact, it's not even a little bit frightening, it's frightening. But I feel so ease doing it because this awareness is a nice one. I really like it. Unlike when I witness my neighbors when I'm fire outbreak, I know how bad it is.
It's a very good one because for a long time we have been having a very big disappointment based on this fire service issue. But bringing this new one, I think is a new good development.
The station is very, very nice. As a suggestion the people, I can say it's very, very good. So people will be aware of this Ramadan season. Those who live in all these makeshift buildings, they are the ones that normally fall victim. Need to be careful.
Controller Welly said the Federal Fire Service is committed to providing all the necessary response in tackling fire incidents in Rivers State to ensure that there is no loss of lives and properties to fire outbreaks.
Scores of passengers on board two commercial buses sustained varying degrees of injuries in multiple auto crashes that occurred at the Jora area of Lagos on Saturday morning. The accident involved an unregistered articulated truck and other vehicles, including a white Ford bus, a fully loaded 18-seater Nissan commercial transit bus, a gold Toyota Corolla saloon car, a grey 7-seater Grand Caravan space bus, and a fully loaded 14-seater Volkswagen Transporter commercial bus. Though no one died in the accident, most of the drivers of the vehicles and some of the victims had already left the scene before the arrival of emergency workers. The permanent secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Olufemi Damilola Oke Osorotiolu, who confirmed the incident, said preliminary investigations revealed that the articulated truck laden with two 20-feet containers suffered brake failure while descending the bridge and uncontrollably rammed into a total of 6 vehicles. They said no one died as a result of the accident, but the driver of the fully loaded Ford commercial bus and 5 other people suffered minor injuries and had all left the scene before the arrival of the emergency responders, while other passengers escaped unscathed. Still in Lagos, a newly wedded couple returning from the Ikoyi Marriage Registry, Lagos, were among 18 persons rescued from an accident scene which occurred on 10th Mainland Bridge on Saturday afternoon. The couple had gone to the Ikoyi Registry to legalize their marriage and were on their way home when their vehicle collided with a truck at the LGA end of the 3rd Mainland Bridge, Lagos. The victims, comprised of 11 women and 5 men, sustained significant injuries in the crash. They were swiftly moved to the Lagos State Trauma and Emergency Center near the toll gate on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway for urgent medical care. This has come in hours after scores of people were rescued from the scene of a multiple auto crash at the Jora area of Lagos on Saturday morning. The General Manager, Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, Olaleko Bakaroki, who confirmed the incident, said the accident involved a mini truck and a commercial LT bus. Bakaroki attributed the cause of the crash to brake failure on the part of the LT bus. Now to political matters, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has expelled the House of Representatives member from Idiato North, Idiato South Federal Constituency of Imo State, and spokesman of the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUP, Ikenga Ugochinyere. PDP expelled Ugochinyere over gross undisciplined insubordination and anti-party activities. His expulsion was contained in a letter from the Idiato Local Government Area Chapter of PDP dated December 5, 2024, and signed by the LGA Chairman, Thangod Okeke, and the Secretary, Onyebuchi Ome. The letter was addressed to the State Chairman of the party. The expulsion followed the report of the party's disciplinary committee dated November 27, 2024, which investigated misconduct charges against Ugochinyere in line with sections 57 subsections 1 to 4 of the PDP Constitution 2017 as amended. The lawmaker had been suspended at his Umuopia, Umukewu ward on October 14, 2024, after failing to honor an invitation to appear before the Ward Executive Committee on October 5, 2024, to answer allegations of disciplinary offenses and ignoring reminders and further invitations sent to him on October 7, 2024. Meanwhile, The National Working Committee, NWC, reacting of the People's Democratic Party, has dismissed the expulsion of Ugo Chinyere by the leadership of the party in Imo State. Ugo Chinyere was suspended by the Delta Local Government Area Chapter of the party in a letter dated December 5th for alleged indiscipline and anti-party activities. However, hours after the move, the PDP National Working Committee nullified the expulsion in a statement by spokesperson Debo Ologunagba. The NWC in the statement declared the expulsion as null and void and of no effect, adding that it is not consistent with the express provisions of sections 57, subsection 7 and section 59, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the PDP as amended in 2017 and laid down rules of the party. It cited section 59, subsection 3 and section 57, subsection 7 of the Constitution of the PDP, insisting that, quote, no ward, local government, or even state chapter of the party has the power to suspend, expel, or discipline a member of the National Assembly in any form whatsoever without due recourse to the National Working Committee as provided by the Constitution of the PDP, end of quote. The PDP maintained that it is governed by strict adherence to the provisions of its Constitution and rules, saying it will not let any individual at any level to violate its Constitution and rules under any circumstances whatsoever. Over in Kebbi State, the People's Democratic Party has berated the state government for allegedly shortchanging local government workers as of the November salaries payment of implemented minimum wage. The spokesperson of the PDP in the state, Sani Dududu, made this known in a statement he signed and issued to newsmen in Brenin Kebbi on Friday. He also wondered why the state and local government employees would have a new minimum wage contrary to the one announced by the governor. The PDP challenged the state government to dispute the fact that, despite a agreed minimum wage figure, the state is still paying less than 40,000 naira to almost all categories of staff on grade level 3, 4, and 5. The secretary urged the state government to fulfill its promises to teachers as they play a crucial role in reshaping the future of society. Meanwhile, reacting, the Kebbi State chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress has criticized the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) over its stance on the implementation of the 75,000 naira minimum wage for local government workers in the state. Now, in a statement to journalists on Saturday, the state NLC chairman Murtala Usman emphasized that the labor union's role is to represent workers' welfare and interests and not serve as a government agent. While acknowledging the importance of opposition in Nigeria's democratic process, Usman called for constructive dialogue on the issue. While urging the opposition to engage fairly, Usman reflected on past challenges, stating that the previous minimum wage hikes, such as the 18,000 naira and 30,000 naira thresholds, had not been implemented at the local government level. We head back to Lagos State, where some business operators and residents have attributed the alarming rate at which businesses are collapsing or shutting down across the nation in recent times to inadequate funding and the economic policies of the present administration. They also blame the surge in electricity tariffs, saying unless these are addressed, more businesses will not survive the next few months. Here's more.
Operating costs in Nigeria today have significantly increased, placing additional burdens on businesses. Small-scale businesses that have rapidly grown and are widespread are now facing significant challenges as a result of the country's removal of the fuel subsidies. The high increase in fuel prices and inflation have all reduced the purchasing power of both employers and employees, and has led to decline in consumer spending, with the sector now grappling with reduced revenues. Workers, on the other hand, are demanding high wages to cope with the rising living costs, and companies, even those with low profit margins, are forced to meet these demands to retain their workforce. This has left many to call for drastic measures from government to address the situation.
My own view is nothing more but government policy should be company friendly. And as much, they should go and do what they call discussion with the companies and ask them, what can we do to assist you to be vibrant in the economy, so that you'll be able to make profit, invest, and then employ our youths, so that the economy will be vibrant. A lot of things seems not to be working, possibly because of the policies introduced, the removal of subsidy, the floating of the naira. Those are the possible things that is really affecting businesses. So what government can really do in order to support and cushion the effect of these policies is to provide, maybe just provide a scheme where small businesses can get soft loan, soft loan, and especially government. I think government is taking some right decision here and there, especially by giving them tax holidays, things that can actually, what's it called, cushion the effects of the present situation.
Power sector, nothing to talk about. We talk about the tariff, the hike in tariff, the masses can no longer breathe. This kill a lot of. I think government need to work on this. They need to work on the tariff. I don't know to work along with the power holding. Let them see what they can do about this light issue. Fourthly, and the other one that follow is the fuel issue. A lot of places are still depending on fuel. I check the hike in price of fuel as well. This thing can no longer be bearable to a lot of people in Nigeria.
For small businesses, these times call for greater commitment to reducing their own costs. If the economic climate is not good, then what should small businesses do is to watch their costs, to look at areas of wastages so that they can stay afloat.
With these economic challenges in the country, many are calling on businesses, especially SMEs, to cut down on costs, especially costs that are unnecessary, and prioritize professional growth of their employees by exposing them to modern techniques and trends to enhance their productivity, while government work towards easing the business environment in the country.
You're also on to News Hour on Trust TV. Still to come. Stakeholders call for more advocacy to break chains of stigma. This story and more when we return. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. A recap of our top stories. We told you that Information Minister Mohammed Idris says Nigeria's tax system long overdue for reforms. PDP National Working Committee dismisses Ikenga Ugochinyeri's expulsion by Ward Exco. Now to more stories. The federal government has clarified that the newly detected XEC COVID-19 variant identified in Australia and some other countries in Europe is not in Nigeria. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Kachalum Daju, confirmed that a recently leaked letter addressed to the Committee of Chief Medical Directors and Medical Directors was precautionary and not intended to cause panic. Daju noted that the XEC COVID-19 variant has been detected in 29 countries, and due to the festive season, when travelers arrive from various parts of the world, it is crucial for hospitals to implement measures to ensure the country is not caught off guard. In a letter dated December 5, 2024, the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare had urged the health authorities to activate heightened alert systems across hospitals and maintain a high index of suspicion for patients with COVID-like symptoms. The letter, signed by the head of the Teaching Hospital Division, Dr. Owen Anuma, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, called for collaboration with relevant stakeholders to share critical data regarding the variant and implement enhanced monitoring protocols. The Permanent Secretary stressed the importance of preventive measures during this period to prevent any potential spread of the variant into Nigeria. The Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, Sunday Echono, has raised the alarm over the growing influence of politics and corruption in the appointment of vice-chancellors in Nigerian universities, describing the trend as detrimental to the quality of higher education. Speaking at the 36th Convocation Lecture of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Echene on Saturday highlighted how political interference and financial incentives are eroding the sanctity of university leadership selection processes. Echene expressed concern that the competition for these appointments has become a lucrative venture, turning members of governing councils into targets for financial inducements. The TED Fund boss further revealed that the financial stakes tied to these positions have emboldened contractors to back candidates for vice-chancellors in exchange for patronage in procurement processes. Broad, Sustainable Women Economic Empowerment and Peace Initiative, BISWEEP, a non-governmental organization which promotes women empowerment, girl-child education, and preventing gender-based violence, reiterates the importance of the media in highlighting the plight of the vulnerable in the society. Trust TV's Dr. Kubo has more for us in this report.
At the heart of the mission of this non-governmental organization is the belief that education and skills development are powerful tools for women's empowerment. By offering access to training programs, it hopes to equip women with the necessary skills to thrive economically and promote peace and security. The CEO of the Broad Sustainable Women Economic Empowerment and Peace Initiative, BISWEEP, Hajia Hadiza Muhammad Abubakar, notes that despite these grand plans, the media is key to attaining progress in its outlined objectives.
We've invited the media to share our vision and mission and impactful stories, and also while fostering collaboration and cooperation with the hope that the platform will enable us to share our stories to reach wider audience.
Other stakeholders emphasize the relevance of efforts to uplift the most vulnerable in society and point out how collaboration with the media is central to its success.
BISWEEP is an organization that started with passion, and up till today, it's how we can only say that we kind of get more and more people that join BISWEEP that have this passion that we started with. The tempo has always been rising.
We invited the various media houses that have partnered with us over the years and helped to amplify some of our messages. So it's our own way of saying thank you to them. It's our own way of getting them involved in whatever it is we're doing.
Media representatives at the event pledged their support to uplift vulnerable groups in Nigeria by investing in women's education and skills development while promoting peaceful coexistence. BISWEEP helps to create a society where women thrive, contribute, and lead in developing the nation. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Women farmers in Kano have called for access to education on safer, climate-friendly and sustainable market-driven practices. As the wet season harvest winds down, they're hopeful that more attention will be channeled towards surpassing these challenges. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports on the commitment by government and partners to transform the agribusiness sector.
As the wet season harvest peaks in Kano, farmers face their usual challenges.
The challenges, the first most important part of it has already passed. That is for the input. The second one, it is maybe when you come to the what we call the post-harvest losses in the areas of maybe mechanized harvesting, storage facilities, transportation. That is where we're going to have challenges now.
The Women Farmers Association in Yadakwari in Garum Malam local government area also shared their struggles in farming.
We
struggle with grain storage for several crops, just like this beans farm, where we often experience losses after harvest because we don't have ways to store them properly. And then for crops like tomatoes and cucumbers, we lack many farm inputs, so at times the market prices even drop during the time that we are harvesting it, causing us to lose. According to them, empowering women farmers is not just about achieving fairness, but a strategic move to revolutionize the agribusiness sector. We have up to 30 agriculture-based business associations here, like for rice farming and even for those who produce the awara, that is soya bean cake. We have in each association up to 25 to 30 members, but we lack support from government to women farmers and also for us to expand and even access better markets. Danjuma Mahmood, Kano's Agriculture Commissioner, talks on efforts of partners like Propcom Plus to support 4.1 million Nigerians, half of them women, through grants and market-driven approaches.
Yeah, we have women-specific empowerment and development programs targeted policy objective in the state, empowering them, enhancing their capabilities to earn income. And you know, the most important element of that, of course, is entrepreneurship and agricultural pursuit. So honestly, their targets, you know, mainstreaming women, it tallies with that of Kano State government, and we're going to sensitize, synergize, and ensure policy convergence between what the Propcom Plus is bringing on board and what we have in the state, as well as the combined effort with that of the federal government of Nigeria.
So our aim is to transform the rural economy of Nigeria by the year 2030. Our focus is on improving agricultural productivity so that people can earn sustainable livelihoods from it while not destroying the environment.
Efforts like Propcom Plus could revolutionize Kano's agriculture sector through its untapped potential in women farmers. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News.
Disability rights advocates have called for more advocacy to help break the stigma against people with disabilities. They made the call on the sidelines of the commemoration of the 2024 International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Trust TV's Noor Samson has more.
Stigma against people with disabilities is a complex barrier that can limit access to education, employment, healthcare, and other opportunities. It can also lead to exclusion, poverty, and a poor standard of living while affecting a person's relationships. The International Day of Persons with Disabilities, IDPD, is celebrated on December 3rd around the world and mobilizes support for critical